Hey everyone. Today we're doing something very different than anything I've done on this channel before, but it's still going to be Halo related. So, as I've mentioned several times, and you can see behind me, I am a huge fan of board games. So, I am very excited to try this Halo board game, especially since it's not the Halo board game that's based on Monopoly or Risk. It might be based on another board game, but I'm not entirely sure. Now, one thing I do want to make very clear about this before we jump into that is trying to find information on this game has been very difficult. There are bits and pieces out there, so I'm going to try my best that this video will be as accurate as possible. But if there might be some inaccuracies, and if you know something that I was wrong about, please let me know in the comments. So today, we're going to be talking about the Halo interactive strategy game. Now, just to set the time period of this game. So, this game came out in 2008, so after Halo 3 and before ODST. But this is after 343 Industries was technically formed. Now, something that's interesting, though, about that is 343 is nowhere on this packaging. In fact, Bungie is still on this packaging. So it's it's a little unclear to me who was actually involved in this game. Now, another thing to mention about this, just to give the time frame of board games, is this is one of those games that has a DVD with it. Now, from what I can tell, the we'll just call them cutscenes that are on this DVD are not cutscenes that are in game. I don't know for sure. I have not opened this. So we'll find out once I open this and I will actually play the game and review it. The full playthrough of the game will not be on this video, but I will give an idea of what the playthrough is like. So, um, I this game has been long out of print. I don't know when they stopped producing it, but given 2008, it doesn't seem like it ever got that popular. It the game makes it seem like they meant for there to be expansions because it says base unit on here. And yeah, from what I can tell, those expansions never came out. So my assumption is this just did not get very popular. So yeah. So I bought this copy on eBay. It was told to me that this is new unbox. I don't know for sure. As you can tell, it is slightly torn. You can hear pieces moving around a little bit, but from what I've been told, this is a new unbox copy. So I figured why not do a proper unboxing and then we'll look at the game itself and yeah. So I know very little about this. My understanding is that the story covers things that happen in Halo 1, 2, and 3. Um, but I don't know for sure. It is just the honest part of this. What's interesting is there is an ESRB rating, but the ESRB rating is based on a game. So this itself wasn't rated. I don't know if the cutscenes are more mature or not, if there will be cussing or not in them. But there's a lot that I don't know about this, and I'm going into this blind, which honestly is something that I don't do very often in board games. Often I either research board games a lot or I'm given a recommendation for a board game specifically. So I still sometimes go in blind, but like I have no idea. I have no idea if I'm even going to like this. So let's jump into unboxing this and see what it's like. Now, before I do, if you like Halo, if you like board games, or if you just like my videos, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And you can follow me on Twitter at AVG Halo Gamer. Now, let's start unboxing this already. Now, thankfully, it is the plastic was already open, so this will be rather easy to open. The box is definitely a little beat up here. Um, one, yeah, the box is beat up. I don't have any reason at this point to believe that this isn't a new unboxed copy. It's not like it's unheard of for games to um have pieces that move around. Now, one thing I should mention on this is that it does say ages 10 plus. So I'm assuming that the cutscenes are probably not going to really be that adult. Not that Halo is really that adult to begin with, but you know, and it is a two-player game. It supposedly it supports teams. I don't know what that means, but now the thing that I am worried is how much were they going for a mainstream board game? And what I mean is a game like Monopoly or Risk or Scrabble or some other traditional mainstream game, particularly in the US. Um, Whereas most of the games that I really enjoy are generally considered European style games. Um, or at least that's what I've heard a lot of my friends call them. They're the type of games that you would go to conventions like like uh, PAX or PAX Unplugged, or a game store. That probably sells Magic, and other games would sell games like these. Um, so considering it's Halo, I'm very curious. Was their goal mainstream, or was it to be, I don't know, what were their goals with this? So, but focusing on the unboxing here, we have the DVD. Nothing too crazy. I was kind of hoping this was going to be in a case. Um, we'll dig into what's on here later. We have what appear to be stickers. So I'm hoping this isn't a legacy style game. So I'm kind of curious where the stickers come into play. We have the strategy guide, which we will, why don't we go ahead and dig into it? And again, it says base unit, which heavily implies that there were going to be expansions for this. Um, Whether or not those were ever going to be a thing, I don't know. I'm a little, I mean, I think that definitely also speaks to the time period again of this. Is like, here's the rule book, and it's black and white, even for the cards. It's where, like, I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I'm not. Given, I know when this game came out. I want to be recognize that. What's interesting is that there are different rules apparently. There's normal, heroic, and legendary. There's no easy from what I can tell. Um, Slayer, capture the flag, um, and there's campaigns. So there are, I guess, 3 campaigns. Okay. We have the different map pieces, and so it looks like the rules are pretty simple, which can be both a blessing and a curse, because just because it has simple rules doesn't mean that it isn't going to be a good game. Like, one of my favorite games is um, Azul, which has very simple rules, but it is what makes it complex is how that rule actually works. So, yeah. Now we have these pieces. I don't know if this piece is actually missing. I would hope it's in the box, considering this is supposed to be new in box. And so far, it seems like it is, but hopefully that piece shows up. I don't know what those pieces are at the moment. We have cards that kind of look like so these are actual cardboard, not cards themselves. We'll open that in just a minute. More of them. It looks like these kind of like slide in together. Yeah, more cards. We have dice. We have very small dice, which is rather interesting how small these dice are. Ooh, a lot of them though. It looks like they're all the same. Has an interesting energy sword and the UNSC logo. Is that all there is? Looks like it. I don't know if these are all identical, but yes. And also, I do realize this is a dusty box. It, yeah, it's very old. And then we have more cards, and these actually look like more cardboard cards again. It looks like these things like slide in together, which is interesting. We'll talk about that more. These are all, there we are. So good. That piece is here. So pieces of this board. We have all of the figures we'll talk about. So I want to build one of these boards here just to give an idea. I will probably be doing videos of all the missions. So yeah. Um, but I just want to have an idea of like what does this look like? Ooh, these are actually, oh, so there's four of these. Okay. Um, so we're gonna build the capture the flag one here, just to give an idea of kind of what this is meant to look like, I guess. So, so they just kind of like slide in, nothing too crazy here. Trying to figure out what pieces are which is definitely a little bit of a struggle. So I guess we'll go ahead and open this piece since I need it for this. Again, I don't really know what. Okay, so there's two flags. Oh, okay, so these are the bases for the flags. Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, okay. I think I'm understanding how this is all going together now. This is going to take me a minute to get this all together. Like I have not built this before, so I don't fully know how this is supposed to look, but this looks like this might be three pieces. I'm gonna set this aside for now. So counting these pieces is a little bit annoying. Just gonna just gonna say that. It is a little bit annoying to be doing. Um, it feels like I'm missing a piece, which is definitely not what I would have expected. Because, huh, um, is there game contents in here? Let's see. So there's four of these pieces, two towers, two towers, one medium tower, two small towers, one. Okay, so these stickers are probably going on these flags. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Three fences, yep. Eight transport tokens. Okay, so so it's a little strange because it looks like it's. Oh no, okay. Going by the picture is a little bit difficult here. Okay, so this is supposed to go here because it doesn't actually tell you which pieces are being used, basically. Um, so this one looks like it's actually four board. I do wish that it would tell you what pieces were being used. I think that would be a huge usability thing. Um, and there's only so many maps, and I'm sure you get used to it. But yeah, and I will shift this over because it's probably slightly off camera now. But so then over here we have the same thing there, and we have this gate. Oop, right there. So this is the capture the flag map. Now, at this point, I don't know how this works. Obviously, you can see it's a grid based. I would assume the rules explain how that works, but this is, like I said, this is the capture the flag map, which honestly is pretty cool. Not gonna like it's yeah. So let's keep this out and let's look at the figures now. I think looking at the figures and how they go on this map, again, I don't know the rules yet, so we're just kind of playing right now. Now, these are not painted figures, but they are color coded, and we have brutes, we have interesting, we have the arbiter, and we have multiple elites. Yes, we do. So we have the arbiter. Okay, so it looks like it's covenant versus human, and it's which makes sense, and it's master chief and the arbiter being the leaders. We have grunts, and we have Spartans, Marines. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting the imbalance. So again, I don't know the rules. Yeah, we will get into the rules. But I don't know the rules yet. So what I find interesting is there are more covenant, and what I was kind of expecting was it to be a 1-to-1. Was there to be elite being the equivalent to um Spartans, the Marines probably being the equivalent to grunts, but I guess there really isn't an equivalent to brutes. So um yeah, now there is one extra piece here, but I don't know if that's used in another map variant. Okay, I do see a map variant that uses um three fences. So it is very gray. I do want to point that out here, but I think it being very gray allows for the most flexibility when they're making these, or when the least number of extra pieces for things to look okay. So let's dive into these cards. I will dive into the setup a little bit later. These are actually cardboard. So normally I actually sleeve all of my games. So because these are legit cardboard, I don't think I need to. If I'm really worried, maybe I'd like laminate them or something. But because of this, like it seems like these are gonna slide in somehow, and maybe there's something that happens. I don't know. Especially because of these also go. Yeah, so I'm guessing there's some. Maybe that's how you do equipment, but so I have to make sure I don't ruin that by adding something on top of it. But we have all of these cards. I'm assuming these are just how you. Yeah, I see a card for each type of character out here. And then it looks like there's stats on the back. There's stats, maybe a starting weapon. Yeah. So Now we have, looks like these are, okay, yep, literally says weapon cards on the back. So do these all say Covenant? Yeah, so these are all Covenant weapons. And we see Plasma Pistol, Needler. Yeah. So just standard Covenant weapons. These will probably be, oh, there's a Gravity Hammer. So these will probably be better shown when I show you an actual playthrough of the game. We have the human weapons, and then we have Halo card, whatever Halo card means. So we have radar. These all say Halo card, yeah. Radar jammer, bubble shield. So this is all the equipment from Halo 3. We have, interesting, it just has one grenade, which just has a picture of both types of grenades, invincibility, cloaking, grab lift. I'm very curious how that would actually work in game. More grenades. And it has the flood. I wasn't ex honestly, I wasn't expecting there to be the flood. Um, I I don't know. I kind of just figured that there'd be enough other things for them to talk about that they just wouldn't do it. So, based on the fact that all these have Halo card, I'm assuming maybe this is some deck that you draw from. But I mean, the flood says you are dead. So I'm assuming this is some RNG aspect to make it so you can't completely just strategize here. So now what I want to do is I want to actually play through this game. And I will be recording that. I will not be showing the full playthrough, but I will be showing bits and pieces. And then I'll come back and actually review the game once I know how the game plays. You know, this was just showing the pieces. What I am particularly excited for is this. Um, I really want to know what's on here. I'm also really hoping it works. Considering, yeah, I'm hoping it works. I can't imagine it won't, but we'll see. So let's jump into playing the game. So we're back now after I've actually played the game. So far I've only played the first mission. So it was a more of a campaign style situation. So I have not done Capture the Flag or Slayer. That being said, my game ended kind of like Slayer. So I don't really know how much difference there would be for that. Capture the Flag I am curious of. But after having played the game and understanding the rules, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this game. I went into this having certain expectations based on the marketing and the information that I could tell. And first off, contrary to what I said earlier, there really is no story. There is a brief intel, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Cutscene. You know, I would compare it to the intel cutscenes that you might have seen in games and maybe the early 2000s where it was really just someone giving you a little bit of information. Maybe there's like maybe a little bit more than that. There was some more cutscene-ish components, but
I have been monitoring all transmission signals from the Jericho system and intercepted an encrypted Covenant message. It's from the Prophet of Candor.
Ah, my brave soldiers.
really not what I was expecting. I was actually honestly I was kind of expecting like maybe for there to be cutscenes in the middle of the match or the campaign that would um somehow change the game. That was not the case. So one of the things that's interesting is this game is actually completely playable without the DVD. There are rules for using the dice, and there are rules for using the DVD. And if you use the DVD, it controls the randomness of the cards. It figures out combat. Um, yeah. Now, this is where I feel like things fell apart a little bit. Was because it's just a DVD, it does not track state. So one example is we had chosen the landing on getting a weapon a few times, and it actually gave us the fuel rod gun, I think 2 or 3 times, and there's only one in the deck. So we actually had to choose weapon multiple times to get something that was actually viable because that was not an option in the deck. So there is that problem. It is a limitation with it being a DVD, but my current thinking is I will use the DVD for the combat and the melee, which are two different types of combat. But I would not use it for the actual cards themselves. I think that it just added needless complication to that part. It is kind of nice the fact that not everyone can use every weapon. Like a grunt can't use an energy sword, so it does handle that for you. But needing to choose things multiple times with the clunkiness of a DVD menu, I mean, those are pretty clunky. Um, just really was not a particularly fun experience. My other big takeaway was that the rules are oddly vague. Like one big example is it never really fully explained a turn. And I use quotes because I'm like, we know what a turn is, but it was never clear of when you took a turn, did you control your entire fleet like you would in a traditional RTS or a normal just management game like this, like Civilization or something like that? Or do you choose one and you control that one? It never specifies, and it never specifies if you do control one. Do you just keep going down the list, or do you choose one to move each turn? So there was a lot of vagueness around there. There was some vagueness around when can you use items? Do you have to? Um, is that part of one of your moves? Like there's a lot of vagueness around there that kind of bothered me a little bit. Um, I also noticed that there was a major inaccuracy. For example, the so this was the layout for campaign one, and it has these two chips. One of these is the detonator, and one of these is a nuclear warhead. Now, the layout for this map showed the nuclear warhead over here, which makes no sense because the humans started over here, or UNSC started over here, Covenant started over here. The entire goal of the UNSC was to get the nuclear weapon over here, get back and activate the detonator. So it made no sense that this was here. Um, and this was just in diagram. Like it's I'll do my best to show it here. And if it doesn't show well on camera, I'll take a picture of this to show. But like you see, like the nuke is in the Covenant staging area, and that's what it shows. Um, so that kind of bothered me a little bit. And then looking at the board here, like this, it showed these two pieces at a corner, but they actually can't properly go in here. It's not possible. So it's close enough, but like they can't both sit here. So this kind of speaks to what I wondered a lot while playing this is how did the play testing go on this game? Because there's a lot of really good ideas, and I really like how it plays. I just the vagueness of the rules, the seemingly inaccuracies in how this layout was supposed to happen. It never even clarifies. Like you can see here, like there's a jump here to here. Our assumption was this is the same height as far as because so in the rules when you do movement, you can't go from here to here. Like you can only teleport going up or down. As a Spartan, it's kind of weird that you can't jump down, but um that's a maybe they didn't want to introduce different movement rules. They also never really clarified. So like when you attack, um you can do diagonally, but it never really talks about so how do you calculate diagonally when you're not on a when it's not a straight path. W- the way I kind of feel about this is this game has a huge amount of potential, but it needs some homebrew rules. It needs something to remove some of the imprecise rules that I think could really take this a long way. And I also think that trying to sell this as a campaign or story or like the rules kept talking about how the cutscenes in the game were action packed. They're not, frankly. Um, and I will do my best here to actually show the content from the DVD. One of the issues that I did not expect was the HDMI protection. So I was not able to just have the DVD playing into my computer and recording it with OBS, which is what my original plan was. So I'm going to do my best with that. It might be an off screen camera and I might have to re record it, but I'll try to show what the actual DVD looked like. We'll see what I can manage with that. But yeah, so I mean, this mission took about half an hour and it was fun. There were, like I said, there were a lot of cool pieces. I actually ended up losing and I was playing the UNSC, which is weird. I actually at first thought that the game was stacked, that the UNSC would almost guaranteed be a winner, at least for the first mission. Um, that did not happen. I don't. I believe it was probably a lot of it was RNG. Um, the other, it's actually this goes into another weird part where so this is a weird thing where when I played the DVD for campaign 1, at the end it said different information than is in this book. Or just omitted information. So like the on the human side, we weren't supposed to use the Marines. On the Covenant side, they weren't supposed to use the brutes. Um, that's not mentioned anywhere in here. So like if I hadn't played the DVD, I'd have no idea about that. I know I said earlier that technically that you don't need the DVD to play, and you don't, except for these weird omissions. Like it doesn't make sense. Um, there was also the fact that like there's nothing in here about how the Covenant would win um, for campaign 1, and yet it did on the DVD. And it, to be clear, it does on the other ones here in the booklet. So yeah, I think there's a huge amount of potential. I think that this book needed one more page to clarify the rules. But I do also need to remember that this came out in 2008. Um, So I'm not, maybe I'm being a little overly critical because of the type of board games that I normally play. But I have to imagine that if you are not an experienced board game player and you bought this game, there are enough vague things that you would be lost. So this kind of makes me realize why the game probably didn't really succeed is it just needed a little bit something more. And really, that more is the rules, and maybe just don't do the DVD. But yeah. Um, but the point that where I'm at now is I will be playing this game more. I'm going to be looking on sites like Board Game Geek to see if there are some homebrew rules that improve this. And if they aren't, then maybe I'll sit down and we'll do a bunch of play testing and come up with our own. Um, I think what we had worked pretty well, but I think we just need to solidify some things. So yeah. Um, I guess the real question here is, should you go buy this game? And it's a really hard thing to answer because I think it really depends on one, you need to know what you're getting. Especially like if you're buying this expecting exclusive cutscenes as at least one place made it out to seem, you're not getting that. That no. I was halfway expecting when I went into this video to maybe get a cutscene that I would be questioning, oh, is this actually canon? No, that question does not exist. Um, maybe it does for someone who's far more into the Halo lore than I am, but and would recognize issues, but no. There was none of that. There was no real cutscenes as you could expect. But if you want to play something that's interesting with Halo, if you have the board game experience to get through these rules, you get a lot of interesting pieces here. The figures are honestly pretty nice. The grunts are a little bit flimsy, but you know, honestly, the pieces here aren't bad. The the building blocks here could be a fantastic game if you know how to finagle it. Cost wise, last I saw on eBay, these were going for maybe about $150. They might be different now. I have not looked, and obviously when you watch this video, they might be a different cost. These are very long out of print. So you're going to be buying a used copy. You might be able to find a new unboxed copy like I did. Um, Thankfully, because there's no non-cardboard cards, like paper cards, everything should be in decent quality. Um, yeah. Now, I actually recorded the entire playthrough that we did, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. You're going to see some of that in this video, but if people are interested, I could release videos of a full campaign playthrough, a full Slayer, capture the flag. There are 3 missions, and each one took about half an hour. Obviously, I would edit that down a little bit. Um, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to release those and record future ones. Um, if you think knowing the rules would be better before you just see how things are played, if that gives you better context to what you're seeing right now, um, then I could definitely release a basically how to play this game. Most likely, it will be how we play the game. Again, going back to the vague rules, and yeah. So if you'd be interested in either of those, if that would give you a better idea, if you actually want to go buy this game, then definitely let me know in the comments, and I will um, make those. I do have more Halo related board game stuff coming down the pipeline. It's I'm hoping some of them are better than this, frankly. Um, and I would love to do more board game stuff that I have behind me. So if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And you can follow me on Twitter at AVG Halo Gamer. And until next time, this is the Average Halo Gamer.